Oh, snap! We're back
With a bank.
again
Uyayiva ke ngoku.
with another topic.
And ke ukukhayenisi. Wow. Did you guys not miss us?
Her voice is just not coming to play today.
Yes, not coming to play, but we're back with another topic, which
Yes.
is going to make your fingers
Snap.
snap. So the topic for today, guys, didn't you not miss us? Actually, did you not miss me? Okay, I call up. But oh snap. But okay, guys, topic for today is childhood traumas. So this topic is going to make me emotional, but as collab. But the definition for this is basically child trauma. This is from Google, not from my mind or Sipo's mind. It says refers to a scary, dangerous, violent, or life-threatening event that happens to a child, usually from the ages of 0 to 18 years of age. Yeah, guys. It basically refers to scary, dangerous, violent, or life-threatening events that happens when you're 0 to 18 years old.
Yes, I think also just to take something to take into consideration with today's topic, I think as much as we're speaking about child traumas, but we're not experts,
Yes,
we're not experts in terms of being counselors. We're not experts in terms of being psychologists. We're just sharing what we've been through or what we understand, and we can make our suggestions. So I think it's very important to understand the fact that we are not experts. There are people who know much better about this topic,
and who studied there.
Yeah, but the issue with this thing, I think even an issue with having this kind of a channel is to sort of start awkward conversations that we are not having somewhere that are actually troubling us, So if you can look at the topics that we've had on the channel, it's things that are important, but we don't see them anywhere being discussed, If you go to church, they don't really discuss those things in church. If you listen to radio, they don't really dwell into, even into society, even to a group of friends. You get my point? So I think it's just more of just provoking conversation. Obviously, we do our own research, but we just basically also read books, of psychology in this topic. But we're not necessarily there as psychologists. Just because you read something doesn't make you an expert of it,
Yeah.
So we just try to make that our way. These are just your suggestions. You can also get involved in the comment sections.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of we just like opening doors so people can be comfortable enough to speak about situations, because we live in a society, or should I say sometimes it could be culturally, that we're not too comfortable by speaking about such things, or if you speak about them, they just close doors.
Yeah.
So that's why today we speak about childhood traumas. I'll just make an example from my side. Sometimes we all know, for example, at home something happened, it did trouble us, it did affect us in some way, and you had to go to a psychologist or whatsoever. But sometimes you want your parents to sit down with you and just speak about it, but you notice that you went to a psychologist, so there's no need for us to speak about it, and let's just move
on.
So my problem for today is the moving part, because sometimes people have expectations to move, but how do you move if you didn't put it into practice? Like basically getting instruction on how to move forward.
Yeah, because one thing I've actually seen about this thing, even to our own selves, even to friends, is that our childhood traumas have a way of coming back into our relationships back, when we are adults, like how we relate to our partners, how we relate to our friends, how we relate at work. You get my point? You could tell that the issues that were never solved at childhood, they keep quiet, and they have a way of creeping in when we have with other partners, and at times that does cripple people's relationship, because it's this issue that you've never solved with. You get my point? Now you're meeting this person, they don't know where it started, automatically they start thinking that you have a problem with them, and the relationship ends, So I think it's also this part of saying that how do we move on? You get my point? And I think we also need to understand the fact that we are especially coming from a background where majority of us, were raised by parents. It happened, move on. Be thankful that you're still alive. You get my point? We don't have time to sit down and talk about it. You get my point?
I remember one of my friends once said that don't just move on, because you might never get a sorry from that individual. Sometimes you may never get the opportunity to sit down, deal with it. Like, unpack what was the situation and stuff. But sometimes as an individual,
Yeah.
try ways that you can unpack the situation, even if it's not involving the other person, but try ways of unpacking it for yourself so you can be able to move forward, so your childhood like experience doesn't like hurt, let's say, your children or the next generation.
Yeah.
Like solve it and move on.
Yeah. For example, one of my childhood traumas that I went through, as a child, I lost my dad, so it was myself and my younger sister, and then my mother also got sick, So the most challenging thing about this thing is that when my mother got sick, there were not family members to assist us, so it was just the three of us being left there, and being raised by a mother who's very strong, and then seeing your mother not being able to go to work, just being in bed the whole day, you can't focus in school. When you have to come back, you still have to clean your own mother, wash your own mother, and your family is just not there, and it sort of, then I did not notice it, but it killed how I could relate to other people, because it's like the time that I needed family the most, they were not there, And the sad part is that my mother never recovered. Like she still passed away, And after she passed away, then family came, But for me, it was not the part of them being there during after the funeral. Yes, life became harder, but for me, one of the most hard things was the time that she was sick and no one was there to help us. I mean, it was only our neighbors who were there to help us. You get my point? Like, I mean, if you're a 15-year-old boy, you're not supposed to be washing your own mother when she's sick. You're not supposed to be. It's one of the most painful things I won't wish on anyone. And the fact that they were never there, and then there was also my younger sister, so I have to stay strong for her. Who's saying this whole thing, and immediately after that, now you basically don't have a mother, you don't have parents, but your family is there. But now, them being there at that stage, you get my point? I could not, because I was a child, I could not say to them, I was disappointed that you guys didn't come on time. I was that you guys knew, but because of your own politics, you chose to stay away. Now that the more I was growing, I'll find myself that as long as I kept in check with my younger sister, it was fine for everyone. It was fine, I didn't understand why should I go to other people. And the issue with that thing, it's always of, you just continue. It also gets to affect you of, I'm just on my own. Yeah. You get my point? I don't need other people. Even with friends, you don't want to come closer to friends, because you're this person that people will leave you on your most vulnerable time. You get which is not true. Okay, it's true that it happened to those group of people, but it affects me now with having friendship that can stay forever, relating to a partner. You get my point? So that was a childhood trauma that I went through, that at a later stage of my life, being in varsity 21, 22, like being in my 20s now, as I'm in my 20s, how I relate to other people, So as much as other people want to come closer to me, by the times you find that I don't open the door,
Very easily.
Very easily, because I'm like, well, people, when you bring them in, they have a tendency of leaving you. I've seen this thing before, And people now honestly have the right intention. You get my point? I mean, having a wife, imagine now, when she wants to know something about me, I'm closing the door. That's a difficult relationship. You get my point? Being blocked. You get my point? And, so it can creep up, like that's one of the traumas that I actually went through, and I realized the fact that at some point, at some stage, I needed to go to a psychologist, to let go. You get my point? Because I'm going to have a child. How am I going to relate to my own child, if I can't relate to my own family, I mean, they are old, I'm not gonna go to my family and say, you guys disappointed me, you guys let me down, I mean, why weren't you guys there? You get my point? But now it's more of, we are family, but there's me going my own way. But you still need that. You get my point? And whenever you are there at times, you always ask yourself questions, so many questions, So childhood traumas have a way of coming back when we are in our 20s, and they can destroy friendship, they can destroy relationships, as it has for myself.
And it can also destroy you. Actually, this is one of the topics, like as he's speaking, I'm getting a bit emotional because it makes me think of one of my childhood traumas, where I remember I was in hospital. It was in St. George's Hospital. I took my father to a psychiatrist, and I remember he was still on a wheelchair, and my father had, I think, got stroked 3 times and stuff. But I remember I would leave work and then rush like to like your Fear Plus, which is so far from Warmer 17th Avenue, to rush my father, and I had no car, to hospital. I'll book someone to go fetch us, and then he would want to go to the bathroom. And for a lady, guys, it is so uncomfortable to go to a guy's bathroom and to watch your own father, let's say, like basically you have to help him if he needs to pee. You know all that thing. You need to help him. And then there's another man coming inside the bathroom, and then he goes to the toilet, and then you need to help him. It was, for me, as much as I'm helping my father, I remember he said one thing that I don't understand why you're doing all of this, but the only way I could answer was that you're my father. And it would have been nice because I did have cousins who are male who could help
me.
me.
Uncles, you know.
Or uncles, and they knew that this was happening. But I had to do it because, like,
no one's gonna do it.
My sisters are at school, and I'm the like, no one's gonna do it if I don't do it, yabo. And sometimes you have a conscience, like, just do it, and then you're like, okay, we just move. We got through this day. But as you grow older, you like it comes back. It comes back. You worry about, if let's say my husband would be in such a state, who would, you know, such types of things. So sometimes you have to go to a psychologist. You have to speak to someone to unpack such situations. And then you sit with such people and they speak about this person, and inside you're like, but where were you guys? You know?
It's like when people speak about love, you know, like, where was this love you're talking about when you were supposed to show it, not talk about it?
Yeah.
You know?
So I think it's a very deep topic, but at the end of the day, you have to unpack. Sometimes it might not be with the same people, but you can unpack it with maybe close friends or whatsoever, childhood traumas, because I know other people, they hide things until and they never sort out, and it just affects them.
Yeah. For me, I think, you know, one of the ways that I going forward with my own challenge that I saw for myself, you know, was that one, at times wanting people who have sort of put you through that trauma to come back and apologize. You are killing yourself.
You're never gonna get it.
If you get it, you are lucky.
You're lucky.
You might not get it.
And if
you
it's
get my
genuine.
Point. Even if it's genuine, you know. So that part, you can be torturing yourself to want people to come and say, listen, you are a child. We were not supposed to put you through that, you know. I mean, maybe other people, their traumas is divorce, you know. They could like, listen, we were not supposed to, you're supposed to experience that, you know. Sometimes wanting our own parents, our own family, or people who put us under trauma to come back and apologize, like, it's something that we have a right to ask for, but for them to respond and apologize, they're only gonna hurt us because they might not come, you know, or they might be, okay, now you're being traumatic, you get my point now. Well, now you want to, like, now they can even hurt you more by, you know. So that's another tricky issue there. But the part for me that helped me to move forward over that situation, you know, it was the part of forgive yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I had to go to a point of I have to forgive myself, you know, and because I was a child, you know, when I did not ask that situation.
And it was not.
You know, I did not ask for my mother to be sick. I did not, like, because after that you become sort of helpless, you know, you blame yourself. Maybe I should have used this medication, maybe I should have used this. I was a child, you know, like, there's nothing I knew. You get my point? So at some point, at some stage, we blame ourselves for our childhood experiences that were painful, you know. But we always have to get to this part of, you need to forgive yourself. You were a child, you could not do anything about it. You were only mature up to that level, you know. So I think the first way of moving forward to one, to expect those people to come back and apologize is a bit hardcore. Whoever gave you the painful time, you know, growing up, you get my point, or even now, you know, sometimes they can be in their own world, you know, and they will justify themselves, you know. The second part of it, you need to forgive yourself. You did not create that situation. You did not ask for that situation. You were a child. Even if it did not happen at that stage, it happened now. You get my point? We did not, like, no one goes around and asks for painful stuff to happen to them, or ask for trauma to happen.
True.
You need to forgive yourself. You know, you need to look at yourself and say, I forgive myself for blaming myself.
Yeah,
you get my
that's
point?
deep.
That's the part. You're
deep.
forgiving yourself for blaming yourself, not for the experience, because you did not ask to be put there. So at some point, I need to go to where I forgive myself for blaming myself. You get my point? I did not ask that. I did not have a solution for that. And only blaming myself is hurting myself. So I forgive myself for blaming myself. Then other steps can also take into process.
Yeah, guys, we have to come to an end, but one thing I do come out of this is forgive yourself. And I think from now on, it's a process of healing.
Yes.
And yeah, this topic is actually making me emotional. But okay, guys, until we meet again.
Yes.
Oh snap!
We can always comment on the. You can always share comments. You know,
Yeah,
on the.
what are your
I think we're all here
comments?
to help each other. You know, I think just because we've gone through something traumatic does not mean that we have found solution to it. You know, we're still going through finding solutions. So if you have any suggestions, you know, you can always help out. I mean, we just giving this suggestion saying forgive yourself, don't blame yourself. You get my point. I mean, think of an incident of when someone is being raped. You get my point. How do they blame themselves? They do not ask for those bad guys to do that to themselves. But at times people go through that. They hate themselves. Why did I walk in that street? Why did I wear that short? Why did I wear that? Was that too revealing? It's not your fault, sis. You can't blame yourself for that. You get my point. It's the other person that is that is wrong. It's the other person that is the devil. You were just living. You get my point. So I think that's the first priority, because I think one of the painful things that you can do to yourself is to hate yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's to look yourself down. It is to blame yourself. I've been there. You know, so
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it's
We
that
love
kind of
you
a topic.
guys. We
But I
love
think
you.
know it's a channel to speak about those things. You know, I think other conversations are nice, are funny.
Yeah.
But some others are just touching. You know, so if we've touched a nerve about it, you know, and you have solutions,
Drop it down
drop
below.
it in the comment section. If you're going through that as well, you know, I honestly feel for you, or for whatever gender you are. But it also goes to that point of know that whatever childhood experience, whatever childhood trauma you went through, you were a child. You did not ask for that. Don't blame yourself for that.
And we move for the better, for the best. Everything will be
Okay.
okay. And thank you for being strong. And you've held it up until this far. We are proud of you. If someone has